Hey y'all, this is High Priestess Tana, and I'm back again to finish discussing the tragic tale of Malice Green. So, where I continued was among the issues, jurors were shown the movie Malcolm X during a break in testimony, which shows officers beating King in LA, and jurors knew the city may be bracing for rioting if jurors didn't convict. So, looking back, they mentioned that Goldberg, the Wayne State associate professor, said he thinks Detroit would have exploded similarly to what happened in LA months earlier or Detroit in 1967 if the cases ended differently. So, to speed this up, let's see, where was I? Green's family sued within days of his death, and the city quickly moved to settle for $5.25 million. And the money was dispersed among more than a dozen relatives, including his widow, two daughters, mother, father, three stepchildren, and his grandmother. And lawyers also received a big chunk of the money, too. And I mentioned about a quarter century later, the mural of Green painted by artist Benny White Jr. Ethiopia, Israel is gone, and the intense emotions surrounding the case have subsided. But what happened on November 5th, 1992 remains a permanent chapter in the city's history, divisive to this day. And yeah, they're showing the grave site of Malice Green on this website, and it's located in the Lincoln Memorial Park Cemetery in Clinton Township. And as I mentioned before, he died from head trauma after the police, or Detroit police, beat him to death in 1992. So they're also talking about Green, his past history. As I kind of mentioned before, it's saying that, but this says a little bit more than what I saw before. It's saying his name was Malice Wayne, parentheses, Fly Green. So Fly was his like nickname. So, but his actual name was Malice Wayne Green. He was 35 and he worked at a steel mill near Chicago for more than a decade, but left the job several months before his death. He had plans to rejoin his estranged wife in North Carolina when he was killed, and that's what relatives previously said. Green graduated from Detroit Western High School in 1975, had two daughters and three stepchildren. He had prior encounters with police. I briefly touched on that, including an incident where he pleaded guilty to drunken driving and attempted to flee police, and another where he pleaded guilty to battery on an officer. That's what I remember reading. Okay. In 1992, his family described Green as a hardworking man who wouldn't pick a fight or back down from a conflict. That's very interesting. The other guy, when I said Baker, I was referring to Doug Baker. He was a former Wayne County assistant prosecutor. He won convictions against Nevers and Butts in both in their initial trial and later in their retrials. Baker, who has prosecuted numerous high-profile cases during his career, said there was more coverage and community interest in Green's case than any other time. Green is a lawyer for the city of Detroit now. Okay. Kim Worthy, of course, tried the cases against Nevers and Butts in with Baker in 1993. Worthy, who later became a Wayne County Circuit Court judge and is now Wayne County prosecutor, said the cases gave people an increased belief in the criminal justice system. And Benny White Jr., Ethiopia, Israel, at the time he was 80 years old, of Detroit, painted a mural of, oh, what I mean at the time, back in when this article was written, he was 80 years old. As they're talking about updates up until like the time at that time in 2017 when this article was written. And they're giving brief updates of where are people now. I didn't want to read about those cops. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about what they were doing at that time or what happened to them, whatever. So at the time, okay, Benny White Jr., Ethiopia, Israel, 80 of Detroit, painted a mural of Green shortly after Green's death in the area where he died. Initially, the artist just wanted to visit the site and didn't have any intention of painting Green's portrait. Then he said he saw Green's blood in the street, arose at the scene and the nearby building, and decided to do more. That's interesting. And it says, the famous work, which served as a shrine for decades, was reportedly vandalized, and the artist created a second piece of Green in 2011, which he keeps at home. In 2013, the city demolished the abandoned party store with the mural. Wow. I knew they were going to destroy the building sooner or later, Israel said. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to give my commentary. As you know, from a spiritual standpoint, I have to give my commentary on this. You know, about everybody have seen the movie Candyman, right? So what I was getting from this is like, even, and this may sound off, but you know how in the new Candyman, they were talking about the different versions of that specific entity or person or whatever, how you will put it. To me, I viewed the imagery of Malice Green of being somewhat like that. If you think of, when you look at the first Candyman, he had a mural of him. They had a mural of him in the projects. What was that? Cabrini Green, I believe. Yeah, Cabrini Green projects, right? And he also died a tragic death. And people was actually conjuring him up, though. And they venerated him, in a sense. They really did. But in that case, he wasn't coming back to save people. He was coming back to harm people. Now, it's opposite with the energy of Malice Green, because I remember driving past there or riding past there several times, and it was never an eerie feeling to me. I felt like a sense of sadness more than anything. But that's what it kind of reminded me of. It's like he was venerated, and because he was wrongfully murdered, okay? Like I said, he died of a senseless death, and it was from an act of racism, discrimination. If you ask me, I don't give a damn what nobody has to say. Nobody's going to make me change my mind about, was it fully motivated by racism or was it done out of fear? I think it was a mixture of both. But that mural puts me in the mind of that specific movie, because as we know, in that specific movie, he was killed for basically falling in love with a white woman and having a child with her. I can't remember if they had gotten married, but they were definitely lovers. And they cut his hand off and they put honey on him and the bees attacked him and stuff. And they said the name, I forgot how many times. But anyway, I think it was like 5 times or something. And that's what it kind of put me in the mind of, like the wrong, like just being killed, having a wrongful death type of situation. Um, the sadness, the tragedy. If that makes any sense. I know it's late and I'm kind of rambling. Excuse me, but that's what it reminded me of. Except for there was nothing malicious about the energy around Malice Green's mural, especially the I've seen and I've went past the original mural several times because like I said, I'm originally from Detroit, although I currently reside downriver now. But I came from the west side of Detroit and I lived there the majority of my life prior to living out here. So that, I know it may sound weird, like how the hell can you compare those two situations? But in the new version of the movie, um, you would hear, I think at the end, towards the end of the movie, Coleman Domingo's character said there are different versions of, you know, this entity known as, Candyman or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they all had stories of being like basically brutalized or killed because of their race, and they were wrongfully accused of things, and they were tortured or and killed for just because it was just out of racism, um as the motive, you know what I'm saying, and prejudice as the motive. So it's very sad. And if you even just look at pictures of the original mural of Malice Green, he was depicted as looking like a Jesus-like figure. And that's the first thing I thought as a child. I was like, he looks like Black Jesus, and it's deep, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I would like to wrap this up and say thank you so much for tuning into this episode. It's been a pleasure as usual. And let me know what y'all think, yeah, this was a tough one, y'all, but I got through it. It was tough. I've been meaning to discuss this for a while now. And it was a lot to try to break down. But again, thank you so much. Y'all have a beautiful rest of y'all day, because it's after midnight, you know what I'm saying? So what was I about to say? It was something else. It was about the autopsy. So they said that okay, they were saying that I was seeing something about what was going on with his brain, with Malice Green's brain. They were about the blunt force trauma. Yes, the autopsy showed cuts to the scalp as well as subarachnoid hemorrhage and brain contusions. However, there were no skull fractures, no other bone fractures. Green's heart was enlarged and the arteries hardened. Toxicology results ultimately showed that Green had a cocaine level of 0.50 micrograms. And the report was done by Dr. Khalil Jaraki, the most junior coroner in the department at the time. And it was saying that it was alleged by the defense that his report was rushed due to workload in his impending vacation, allegedly. I'm just gonna say that. Um Jiraki testified in Butts and Never's trial that the damage was done by 14 blunt force trauma blows to the head. They also said that he stated that his boss, Dr. Badr Kassin or Badr Kassin, whatever, agreed that Green's drug consumption was as insignificant as the color of his eyes in relation to the cause of death. This is crazy. So another thing they were saying is that it was their, wait a minute, who was they? Oh yeah, the same people who did the autopsy, I assume. It was their opinion that Green died as a result of cocaine and alcohol abuse combined with his physical struggle with police as he resisted arrest and the minor head injuries. Oh, they is in this case, I stand corrected. I believe they were talking about, oh, it said Butson and Never's defense presented 3 experts, one of whom stipulated that they identified 11 blunt force injuries to Green's head. That's who said, okay, they tried to make it seem like Malice was high and drunk, and that's in addition with his physical struggle with the police as he resisted arrest and the minor head injuries. They stated that these things in combination caused a surge of adrenaline, which overloaded the electrical currents in Green's brain, resulting in brain seizure, respiratory failure, cardiac arrest, and death. That's interesting. But I just wanted to point that out because that was crazy. And I also saw something in here about one of the police officers thought that Malice was reaching for a gun or something like that. I guess when he went in a glove compartment. That is crazy. Y'all, what the hell? This whole situation was just overwhelming. Just this whole case was just like, it was wild, y'all. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because it's been very overwhelming. But I hope y'all have a beautiful night and beautiful rest of y'all day. However you want to put it at this point. Shit is after midnight here in Michigan, but y'all take care. Y'all stay safe and leave some comments if y'all feel like y'all need to or want to. Peace. Y'all stay good.